You ever notice how the US government doesn't really care when people make videos about Area 51? They don't sue, they don't shut things down, they let YouTubers drive right up to the front gate. And there's a reason for that. Because every second you spend talking about little green men is a second you're not asking what they were actually doing out there. So here's a question. What if the aliens were never real? What if the US government let you believe in them because the truth was something they really, really didn't want you to know? About 120 miles northwest of Las Vegas, there's an unmarked dirt road. No sign, no address. If you're driving down the extraterrestrial highway and you blink, you'll miss it. But if you follow that road, you'll hit a fence with armed guards, cameras, and signs that straight up tell you they're authorized to use deadly force. The US government didn't even officially admit this place existed until 2013. That's not a typo. 2013. Almost 60 years after they built it. Think about that. For nearly 6 decades, the most famous military base in America was officially fake. The official story goes like this. Back in 1955, the CIA needed a place to build spy planes, the kind that could fly so high the Soviets couldn't shoot them down. So they picked a dried-up lake bed in Nevada called Groom Lake, slapped it on a map, labeled it Area 51, and got to work. And what they built out there was actually insane. The U-2, the O-12 ox cart, planes that could fly at 90,000 feet, planes that could cross the entire United States in 70 minutes. Planes so fast and so high that when people looked up and saw them glinting in the sun, they thought they were UFOs. And that's where things get weird. The government knew people were seeing these planes. They knew the UFO reports were piling up. And instead of correcting people, they just let it happen. A recent Pentagon investigation actually suggested the Air Force may have been spreading the alien rumors themselves. Why would the US military want you to believe in aliens? Here's why. Right next to Area 51, there's another piece of land called the Nevada Test Site. And between 1951 and 1992, the US government detonated over 900 nuclear bombs out there. 900. Roughly 100 of them were above ground. They were testing how to build bigger bombs, better bombs, bombs that could wipe out cities. And they needed somewhere remote, somewhere quiet, somewhere nobody would ask questions. Aliens were the perfect distraction. While the public was looking up at the sky chasing UFOs, the government was setting off nuclear weapons in the dirt right underneath them. And the worst part? Most of these tests were public knowledge at the time. The government just buried them under bigger headlines. The space race, the Cold War, UFO sightings. Nobody noticed the radiation drifting across the country. In 1957, the government ran something called Operation Plum Bob, 30 nuclear tests in a row. And during one of them, codenamed Smokey, they brought in around 3,000 American soldiers and made them stand close enough to the blast to feel it. They wanted to see what would happen to the human body when exposed to that kind of radiation. Those soldiers didn't volunteer for this. They were told it was a routine training exercise. Most of them weren't even given proper protective gear. Decades later, a lot of those men developed cancer, leukemia, tumors. Their families spent years trying to get the government to admit what happened. Most of them died waiting. And the radiation didn't stop there. During the space race, the US was trying to build a nuclear-powered rocket. The idea was to launch missiles into space and fire them down at the Soviet Union from above. So they tested one out at Area 51. And during the test, something went wrong. A 148-pound chunk of radioactive debris broke off and landed inside the base. It was so contaminated that the government declared that part of Area 51 off-limits to humans for 6 weeks. Not even soldiers in hazmat suits were allowed near it. Let that sink in. There's a piece of American soil that was so radioactive, the government had to fence it off from its own people, and the public never heard about it. Now, here's where the alien story really took off. In 1989, a guy named Bob Lazar walked onto a Las Vegas news station and told the world he'd worked at Area 51. He said the government had recovered alien spacecraft and was reverse engineering the technology. People lost their minds. Lazar became an instant legend. But there was a problem. The schools he claimed to have attended, MIT and Caltech, said they had no record of him. The lab he claimed to have worked at said he was never an employee. None of his credentials checked out. But here's the question nobody asks. Why didn't the government do anything to stop him? If he was lying, why let the lie spread? And if he was telling the truth, why is he still alive? Area 51 is still active, right now, today. Around 1,500 people work there, and they're flown in and out of Las Vegas every single day on a secret unmarked airline. In 2020, a private pilot flew over the base and took photos showing massive new hangars being built, big enough to hold an entire fleet of unmanned drones. What are they building out there now? What are they testing? Nobody knows, and the government isn't telling. And just like in 1955, the conspiracy theorists are still busy looking for aliens, while whatever's really happening out there happens in plain sight. So, I'll leave you with this. For almost 60 years, the US government convinced an entire generation of Americans to look up at the sky and chase aliens. While right underneath their feet, they were detonating nuclear bombs, poisoning their own soldiers, and burying things they still won't talk about. And the craziest part? It worked. So next time someone tells you Area 51 is all about little green men, ask yourself one question. Who benefits from you believing that? Because when a government has armed guards, deadly force authorization, and a 60-year head start on hiding the truth, maybe the scariest thing in that desert isn't from another planet. Maybe it's us. If this messed with your head as much as it messed with mine, hit that subscribe button. We're digging into the stuff your history teachers were too afraid to tell you. And drop a comment below. Do you think the government is still hiding things at Area 51 today? I'll see you in the next one.